What's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're talking about Matthew McConaughey's latest film, The Gentleman, or as I would like to call it, Lemon the Gent. Anyways, so as I've said in a previous review, I'm often a bit cautious when it comes down to watching Matthew McConaughey in a new film because I haven't really loved him since, 2014 or something. Personally, my favorite role of his was back in 1996 with The Time to Kill. But I often have a hope for a brighter day when it comes down to his career. I know he has it in him to do something great, but is that what The Gentleman is? Or are you better off cordially declining this film? Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, cordial. Showing or marked by warm and often hearty friendliness, favor, or approval, aka pleasant. The Gentleman is all about schemes, bribery, and blackmail when an extremely rich marijuana dealer attempts to sell his empire, but trouble comes to knock on his door when word drops of his hidden empire dropping the value of his business, which only gets worse from there. There's a level of brilliance in this film, there really is, but it takes a while to get there. This film is told in a non-linear format, hopping back and forth from the primary story centering on Matthew McConaughey's character, and somewhere in the near future where there's a private investigator telling the story to Charlie Hunnam's character. And the funniest thing about that is Charlie Hunnam's character has this look on his face the entire time of annoyance and displeasement, and he constantly tells the private eye to get on with it. What's the point? Get to the point. Chop, chop. And as an audience member, you're either going to be really into the film's story like the private investigator is, or you're going to be a bit bored, maybe tapping your toes like Charlie Hunnam's character. I really believe that's the type of movie The Gentleman is. Me, I was like Charlie Hunnam because before he ever says, get to the point, what's the point? I was saying the same exact thing. Of course, there is a point, like I said, and when it eventually gets there, I think most people watching the film will be able to enjoy it. But don't misunderstand me, because I wasn't kidding. It does take a while to really get to the point of the story. That being said, there were still things in this movie that I just couldn't connect with. One of my biggest problems, personally, is that I don't really understand the illegality of marijuana. I never have. It's an herb. I can't see people killing others over the stuff. I can't understand the bribery, blackmail schemes, none of it. It's an herb. Even when it was illegal in all 50 states in the United States, I just didn't understand why. It became illegal because of the stupidest propaganda film that was created back in the day that said marijuana makes you crazy, homicidal, suicidal, whatever, insane. And apparently people just believed it, and here we are. So the point is, I've never been able to get that wrapped around my head. I've never been able to get engaged in stories revolving around the crime of distributing marijuana. Same thing with the much lighter TV show Weeds. My wife and I just started watching that on Netflix, and I just can't. I can't, because it makes no sense to me as to why people are so serious about it. Why they're so serious about marijuana. It's an herb! But like I said, it does get to a sense of brilliance, and when it does, I was all in. But I'm not sure it made the waiting worth it. Maybe if I'd actually bought into the crime of marijuana distribution, I'd think it was worth it, but because I don't, I didn't. That being said, the performances are all pretty good, especially Hugh Grant, who has to be the standout in this film, even though he's not in much of the movie overall. Guy's almost unrecognizable in this role, and for an actor that has often played the same type of role his entire life, it's really awesome to see him tackle something so different. The other characters, while they were good and they were diverse, I felt like they were also slightly safe, because in the same scene, they work out really well because of their diversity. But once you start picking them apart, take them away from the crowd, look at them individually, examine them all on their own, they aren't incredibly strong characters. Anyways, it's time for that end score. At the end of the day, I think this film was decent enough and did a good job, technically speaking. There's a good eye for cinematography, and the editing is on point, especially for a non-linear format. The performances were strong, and Hugh Grant was great. My unbiased score was 74%, but I was like Charlie Hunnam, tapping my toes, wanting it to get to the point, so my bias score is 62%, averaging everything out to a score of 68%, 68 out of 100 possible stars, landing it with a letter grade of D. So essentially, I had hoped for more, given the fact that I've seen others praise it for certain things. But for the most part, it just wasn't my cup of tea, even though I totally understand it was made very well. I'd like to hear your thoughts on The Gentleman in the comments down below. Do you think this is one of the best roles Matthew McConaughey has played in recent history, or were you just not impressed? As for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review and would like to see some others like it. Hit the thumbs up button because that always helps out my channel, and don't forget about the little bell icon because that'll help notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out!